You never thought you'd end up here in a life that's technically yours, but somehow feels like it belongs to someone else. You wanted something different once. You had dreams, ambitions, that feeling that there was more ahead than just work, bills, and a schedule. But then you started making the right choices. School, then a job, then a relationship, then responsibilities. You followed the path because everyone else did, because that's how it's supposed to be, because it was the right thing to do, and now you're here. Everything is stable. You have an income, a place to live, people around you. On the surface, everything is fine. But here's the thing you want more. You catch yourself replaying the same questions in your head. Is this really my life? Did I actually choose this, or did I just go along with it because it was easier? It starts small. You notice that things you used to enjoy don't feel the same anymore. The conversations feel like predictable, that work pays the bills but doesn't bring any meaning, that days pass and you can't even remember what made them different from each other. You tell yourself it's normal, that this is just how life works, that adulthood is about compromises, responsibilities, stability. You convince yourself that everything is fine, but deep down, you know it's a lie because something inside you is restless. Something keeps whispering that this isn't it, and then one day you can't ignore it anymore. It sneaks up on you, maybe in the middle of a conversation, maybe when you catch your own reflection and realize that you can't remember the last time you actually felt alive. Maybe it's just in the silence, when no one's around and there's no need to pretend. And now you're standing face to face with the question, what now? What do you do when you realize the life you're living doesn't feel like yours? When you see that you've become trapped by decisions you made on autopilot, you've grown used to this life. It's comfortable, predictable. But if comfort and predictability were enough, you wouldn't be asking yourself these questions. And then it hits you. Change doesn't happen all at once. There's no sudden epiphany, no flashing sign telling you it's time, no perfect moment where everything lines up, but there is one simple decision that changes everything. You stop agreeing. You don't make a scene. You don't burn everything to the ground. You just stop saying yes when you want to say no. At first it seems insignificant, but then you notice that things start to shift, not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. You start making choices, real ones, not because they're expected, not because they're right, but because they feel right to you. And yeah, it's terrifying because your whole life you've been told that being responsible, rational, and practical is what matters. But no one ever told you that being happy does too. And now you're standing in front of that truth and you realize there's no going back. Because once you've tasted what it's like to truly choose, you can't unlearn it. But where do you go from here? That's the real question. You can't just drop everything. You can't erase years of work, relationships, plans. You're not a kid who can just say, I don't want this anymore and walk away. But here's the thing. Changing your life doesn't mean destroying it. It doesn't mean running away, cutting ties, or disappearing. Sometimes it just means stopping what's been slowly destroying you. You start small. You stop laughing at jokes that aren't funny. You stop spending time with people who drain you. You stop pretending you don't care when, honestly, you do. At first it feels strange. You're not used to this. You've spent your whole life trying to be easy to work with, easy to be around, easy to rely on. But then it hits you, being easy isn't a virtue, it's a compromise. And now you start removing those compromises. Slowly at first, almost imperceptibly, but then more boldly. You realize you don't have to live up to anyone's expectations, that you're allowed to choose. And one day you wake up and realize your life has started to change. You don't know where it's leading yet. You don't have all the answers. But for the first time in a long time, you feel something you'd almost forgotten. The feeling that everything is just beginning. But here's the paradox. You took the first step. You're no longer living on autopilot. You started paying attention to what's inside. You started saying no where you always used to say yes. You started questioning what you actually want. And instead of relief, instead of the rush of clarity you expected, you're met with something else, something heavy, something slow, something unsettling, confusion. Because if before you at least had some kind of structure, something to push against, something to complain about, something that even if it wasn't yours, at least gave you direction. Now there's nothing. You've stepped out into open space and there's no path, no signs, just silence, and you don't know where to go, or if you should even move at all. Maybe you should just turn back to the comfort of predictability, back to the life you never really chose, but at least knew how to live, because right now nothing makes sense. You catch yourself waiting for a sign, for a moment where everything just clicks, for some sudden wave of certainty where you wake up and finally know what you want, where you're going, what to chase, what to build, for a plan to just appear fully formed so you can stop feeling lost. But a week passes, a month, half a year, and nothing happens. No revelation, no perfect answer. And then you start getting angry at yourself, at the world, at this endless uncertainty. You feel stuck, like you've lost your footing, at least before you had a path, even if it wasn't yours. Now there's just nothing, and that scares you more than any routine ever did, because the unknown is always more terrifying than the familiar. So you start searching for answers, books, podcasts, stories of people who seem to have figured it out, and for a moment you think, yes, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. This is my purpose. This is the missing piece. But a few days pass and suddenly it doesn't feel so right anymore. You realize you're just trying to force yourself into another role, another identity that isn't truly yours. You haven't found yourself. You've just found another version of what you think you should be, and somehow that feels even worse. And then you start wondering, what if there is no such thing as yours? What if it's all just made up? What if people don't actually find themselves? They just pick something, anything to hold on to and pretend it matters. What if all this searching for meaning is just a distraction from the fact that maybe there isn't any? But if that's true, why does this still eat at you? Why can't you just accept it? Why does something inside you keep insisting that life has to be more than just fine? And then one day something shifts. You stop looking for the right answer. You stop analyzing, stop overthinking, stop waiting for clarity to arrive like some kind of divine intervention. You let go and you do something you've never done before. You just start, no plan, no certainty, no idea if any of it even matters. You just pick something, anything that sparks something in you, and you try. You have no idea where it will lead, no idea if it will take you anywhere worth going, no idea if it's even the right thing, but you try, because the only thing you've learned from all of this is that answers don't come from standing still, they come from movement. You start writing not because you think it will turn into a book, but just because you want to. You start running, not for a marathon, but just to feel your body move. You start learning, not because you need to master something, but just because you're curious. And slowly, things begin to shift. You feel lighter. Life feels less like something happening to you and more like something you're actually living. The days stop blending into each other, and then you realize you haven't found a goal or a purpose or some perfect roadmap, but you found something better, a sense of being alive, a sense that you're moving. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting for motivation, stop waiting for permission. You just live. And no, it's not always easy. There are still doubts. The fear still creeps in. Some days you wonder if you've actually changed anything at all, or if you're just filling the same emptiness with something new. But the difference is, you're no longer standing still. Now you know, movement is life, and most importantly, you don't need a justification to do what feels right. You stopped waiting, stopped second guessing, stopped searching for the right answer. You just chose yourself.